Welcome to Public Pālikā. The Rainfall Model, redesigning the flow of wealth. In the architecture of Public Pālikā, the Rainfall Model is where metaphor meets mechanism. It is here that the ethical turn of Lifeconomics materializes into tangible fiscal design. We move beyond critique into construction, no longer content with diagnosing the trickle-down deception. This chapter imagines a new hydrology of hope, where wealth flows not from the top to the bottom through bureaucracy but falls like rain upon every constituency, pools into local ponds of action and rises again only as surplus vapor to feed the wider ecosystem. We must begin by asking the most grounded of questions. How does wealth move in a democracy? Not just in charts or budgets, but in lived experience. Why does public money feel so distant from public life? Why do people pay taxes but receive little clarity, control, or even benefit from them? To answer these, we must first critique the logic we have inherited.
The myth of trickle-down. The trickle-down theory gained prominence in the late 20th century, particularly through Reaganomics in the United States and Thatcherism in the UK. Its central thesis was simple: cut taxes for the wealthy and businesses, deregulate markets, and let the ensuing prosperity trickle down to the lower strata through job creation, investments, and economic stimulation. The idea was that when the top thrives, the rest follow, but in practice, this rarely materialized. What we saw instead was wealth concentration, corporate capture, and fiscal leakage. The rich got richer, the poor got rhetoric. In India, this model was absorbed not only ideologically, but structurally. Revenue was centralized. Local governance remained underfunded. Grand national schemes were parachuted into villages without understanding context or need. Bureaucracy became the medium and delayed its message. More dangerously, trickle-down was not just an economic model. It was a psychological design. It taught people to look upward for support, approval, and instruction. Citizens became clients. Local leaders became fundraisers. Participation was reduced to petition. This is where rainfall begins. Not in policy innovation, but in epistemic reversal.
A new flow, philosophy to practice. In the Rainfall Model, the metaphor of water becomes a framework for economic justice. Water is a great equalizer. It falls without prejudice. It gathers where needed. It nourishes from below. So too must wealth. Let us understand this model through four fluid metaphors. 1. Cloud. Revenue collection. The cloud is the collective contribution of the people. It forms through the evaporation of earnings. Income tax, service tax, commercial activity from every home, shop, and office. But unlike in the trickle-down model, where these clouds drift toward the center and remain there, here they are localized. Every constituency has its own fiscal cloud, a pool of public contribution mapped digitally and publicly. 2. Rain. Local allocation based on need. Rain falls where it is needed, not where it is commanded. In this model, budgetary allocation begins with a needs audit. Schools, health centers, water systems, and public works are prioritized based on participatory planning, not on top-down schemes. Rain doesn't wait for approval from Delhi. It listens to the land. Third pawn, constituency planning and pooling. Each constituency becomes a pawn, a unit of water governance and by extension, wealth governance. Pawns receive rain, store it, use it, and make it accountable. Public dashboards track how much was collected, where it was allocated, and what outcomes it generated. These are living budgets, open to scrutiny and revision. Every citizen becomes a stakeholder. 4. Vapour. Surplus flows upward. Once local needs are met, the surplus, and only the surplus, rises upward. This is the vapour principle. The Pālikā, state level, becomes a lake that receives this vapor and redistributes it for shared infrastructure like highways, large hospitals, and regional planning. From there, Bharat Pālikā, national level, becomes the ocean, the reservoir of strategic reserves, disaster response funds, and long-term research. But crucially, nothing flows upward until it has served its ground.
An organic architecture of wealth. This design aligns elegantly with federal principles. Constituencies as ponds reflect the immediacy of life. Rajya as lakes coordinate and harmonize needs beyond boundaries. Bharat as ocean anchors the nation in equity and stability. This is not decentralization for its own sake. It is decentralization as dignity. It assumes intelligence at the bottom. It restores the economic agency of the first responder, the citizen. When the farmer pays tax, she sees it build her canal. When the teacher contributes, she sees it fix the roof of her school. The state is no longer an abstraction. It becomes visible in the street lamp that works, the medicine that arrives, the audit that is public.
Lifeconomics in action. The Rainfall Model is Lifeconomics operationalized. It draws boundaries around market overreach, insists on transparency, and returns governance to the governed. It doesn't reject national planning. It subordinates it to local truth. It imagines a world where economic planning does not descend like scripture, but emerges like rainfall, from the clouds of collective contribution falling into the ponds of everyday life, nourishing without discrimination, and rising upward only as gratitude, not command. This is not fantasy. The tools exist: digital ID, UPI, blockchain audits, geotagged assets. What is missing is not feasibility, but philosophy. Public Pālikā, through the Rainfall Model, restores that lost purpose. It lets democracy breathe through economics. It lets life write the budget. And so, the rain shall fall, not from ministers' mouths, but from our shared sky. For in this model, the economy is not a river that flows from the capital to the countryside. It is a monsoon of dignity pooling wherever life lives. Let it rain.